create a new project by clicking General, delete the default cube, add a new cube by pressing Shift A. Make sure viewport shading is clicked at the top there. Make sure your cube is selected. Click Material Properties, New, name it Tiles and Decal for this example. Next, go to, with the cube selected, go to Shading. And now we need to add our textures. The first texture is some tiles. Click down here, then press Shift A, search, image, open up our tiles texture. Drag the color output to the base color input, and now you can see that it is connected but not oriented properly. To fix this, go to UV editing. Make sure your viewport shading button is selected in order to see the image texture. Now on the left hand side here, select your faces, press S to scale, G to move, Y to move along the Y axis, and that part's almost done. Go back to layout mode. With the cube selected, go to Object Data Properties, UV Maps, and then name this Tiles. Now Blender knows where to put the tiles on the cube, or the tile texture on the cube. And now we need to do this with our smiley face. Go to Shading, add image, that's Shift A, search image, image texture, search for your decal. It has to be a PNG with transparency. In this case, I'm using a smiley face. Now, in order to have them both display on the cube at the same time, we need to add a Mix RGB node. Shift A, search, mix. Put the color output from the tiles into color 1, and then the color output from the smiley into color 2, and now the color output from the mix into the base color of here. You can see that it's almost working, but we need the transparency from the smiley face. So we'll go from the alpha of the smiley and connect that to the factor of the mix shader. Now it's displaying on all sides, but we only want it to display on one. Go back to layout and then press, go to the object data properties, click the plus sign, and then we're going to call this decal. Click the camera next to that so that's visible within our viewport. Go back to UV editing, and you can see that the smiley face is now here. If you've accidentally clicked somewhere else and deselected all your faces, go back to face select mode by pressing in your 3D viewport, click, and then press 3 to switch to face select, and then A to select all faces. Then right click, UV unwrap faces, reset. In the editor over here, select all your faces, scale it down to a tiny area, G to move them all, and then move them over a transparent portion of your smiley face. Next, in order to have the face actually display on our cube, select one of your faces, right click, and then simply click UV unwrap faces, reset. And there we go. Now in your UV editor, we need to, in order to orient this face right side up, over here we're going to select our face, it's negative 90 in this case, 90 degrees. And there's that. Now in order to have the tiles and the smiley face displaying properly, we need to tell our shader to use the UV map for the tile only on the tiles, and the UV map for the smiley only on the smiley texture. So go back to shading. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go back to shading. Shift A to add, UV map, connect the UV to the vector of the blue tile, and then over here, click tiles. Now we'll do the same thing, Shift A, UV map, UV to the vector, and then that decal. And there we go, that's it, we're done. If you go back to the layout mode, you can switch between these in the viewport, and they're both going to show the same information because it's being taken care of in the shader, I believe. But anywho, that's how you do it. My name's Andrew. I'm Snoop Human on Instagram. I'm a 2D and 3D artist, and this has been my very, very simple tutorial on how to add a decal to a textured object.